I don't know how we didn't talk about this last time. I don't know how we dodged this, or maybe I asked you, but we just kind of like got off track. You said you did rodeo. I definitely need to know about this. I've never in my life met a person who did rodeo. What was that like? And like, can you explain what rodeo is for people who might not know what that is?
Sure. Yeah. So rodeo is a series of events based on Western ranch hand work. So it's a competition. So initially it started as, like on ranches, they would be like, oh, who's our best roper? Who's the, best, horse rider, who has the fastest horse, that kind of stuff. And eventually it just turned into a sport. And so I started out, you have multiple events. You have stuff, team roping, calf roping, tie down roping, breakaway roping. You have bull riding, bareback, saddle bronc. Those last two are on horses. Like I said, bull riding. That's the only one that doesn't relate to some type of ranch work. It's literally, let's see whose balls are bigger. Yeah. And then you have barrel racing, which is mostly females, but it's not strictly female. I do know guys that have done that professionally. Yeah, that's the majority of the ones you see. I started out as a calf roper and a team roper. So a calf roper is literally they let the calf go. You have and then you chase after the calf. You have to rope the calf, get off of your horse, flip the calf over, and tie 3 of their feet together, and then put your hands up saying that you're done. And then the calf has to stay tied up for 5 seconds. And then you hop back off, let them go. And
that's insane. I never knew. And I wonder what the history of this is. Like, I wonder how long this has been going on. Do you know anything about that? Like the history of rodeo?
I mean, obviously it's not 100% tracked down just because, it started out as just ranch competitions.
Yeah.
For fun for the cowboys. But as far as professional rodeo, I'd have to go look, but I know PRCA, which is the biggest professional organization for rodeo cowboys, has been around since at least the 60s.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have some that go even further back, and there's a lot of stuff like when it comes to bull riding, which is the one that gets the most TV coverage. Just because,
I've seen that a lot. Yeah,
it's the most dangerous, and I can attest to that. So I did bull riding as well. After a while, I rode bulls while I was in the military. All the branches have a rodeo team, and I even got to ride for PBR twice. Which is the Professional Bull Riders Association. Did not do well. Matter of fact, I got a concussion out of one of my rides. So, on a bull called Tilt-A-Whirl. So I slid back right by his ass, and he lived up to his name and just slung me into the fence.
I guess that's another one of your lucky situations that didn't kill you.
Yeah, it didn't feel real great for about a couple of weeks, but yeah, and my boss in the military was not happy about that. So, but it is what it is.
It's crazy. You really have done it all. Like, I'm thinking back to our last podcast that you worked for ESPN. You're a comedian. It's just like insane. Your life stories are wild. Like I said, I've never met anyone who's done rodeo. Did in hindsight from doing that, like, was it worth it to you to do rodeo, or did you ever feel like, okay, that wasn't worth putting myself in that type of danger?
I don't know if bull riding was the smartest idea. But doing rodeo never bothered me. Like I said, I started out as a roper, so that's a very skilled set. That's something where you control more of what's going on than anybody else does. So, but bull riding, it's a legit sport. Like the bulls that make it to the highest level, and they're bred for that. Like that's what they get, bred for. And the bulls at the highest level are athletes just as much as the cowboys are. And like you go and watch it live, and you can see the bulls. they're not, obviously they're not going to be solving like quantum mechanics, but the bulls know what's going on. They know what they have to do to get fed later that night. So
yeah. Isn't there something else with bulls too? I remember I used to see in like the cartoons, they would hold that red flag and they would go running. What was that?
Oh, that's bullfighting. That's Spanish bullfighting. That's
what is, I can't remember what exactly that is, but I kind of like vaguely remember seeing like cartoons of that. What is that?
From what I've read on that, 'cause I haven't got to see it in person. So basically they release a bull, and the bullfighter has, their cape. And the whole idea is just kind of to put on a show before they kill the bull. So, but a lot of people misinterpret that the color red is what gets the bull. It's actually just movement. Bulls are colorblind. So
they might have just stuck with red because it's like stands out as a showpiece as well. If it doesn't stand out to the bull, it might just stand out for the audience or like the showmanship of it all. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but.
Well, it also goes with their outfit. So it's a cape that they actually wear that they pull off. So red makes sense. It usually goes both things.
That's interesting. And one more question about the rodeo. Were there ever people who kind of criticized it like, oh, this is unfair to the animals? You guys are playing tricks, playing games with them just for your enjoyment. Was there any like criticism in that kind of way from the public?
The Madison Square Garden hosted the one of the opening events for professional bull riding for PBR, and there were protesters out there. But a lot of the stuff that they were putting out has been corrected and fixed in rodeo. Like obviously, a lot of stuff from back in the day that was done. What was cruel to animals? Using shock. Or cattle prods, things like that to kind of force the animal to do things that maybe it wasn't ready to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff's gone away. And it's been made a lot safer for not only the riders, but the animals as well. Because I mean, you have some of these animals, you have a prize winning bull that goes through an entire season and nobody rides that bull. The contractor or the owner of that bull can get millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So they don't want to see that animal get hurt either. So
yeah, no, you're right. There's a lot to that. And there's like that could branch out to different things too, like even horseback riding. Like people could be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure that question has been asked there too,